All right, welcome friends. It is so good to have you for this very quick webinar on where we go from here in COVID-19. So those of you who have been following me for a while saw right at the beginning of COVID-19, I kind of jumped in and said, listen, I don't know what the outcome of this is going to look like, but here's what I know. You might not be able to sell anything today, but you can definitely be building bond with people. And bond brings dollars when they're ready to buy. And I went through at length the ways to do that. If you missed that, don't worry. We're going to rehash some of it today. But things have changed. It looks like the world's going to open up again here in the next month, maybe in the next couple weeks for some of you, in the next couple months for the rest of you. It's going to get weird. Then it's going to get normal. We don't know what that normal looks like, but you can get back to work. So here's the point. It's still the time for building, even right now. And we're going to do it in the same way we were doing it before with a few tweaks. So if you didn't hear all the stuff I put out earlier when COVID-19 launched, don't worry, but dive in, pay attention to this now. It is so critical. As predicted, as I predicted, I said it. When this thing gets close to the end, we're going to have two types of people. There are two types of entrepreneurs right now, and two only. Hibernators and hustlers. Now, I could add a third category in there of people that are just hustling in the wrong direction, but they're working nonetheless, and I don't want to fault them for it. So we've got hibernators and hustlers, or strategic planners and executors. Right now, those are the only two types of people we have. So listen, when the economy improves, those who have prepared will have the advantage. Anyone who has put in the effort to build bond, that is the key with others, will be harvesting soon. You've got to hear this message, and this is the opportunity, and it's not too late for this. If you didn't take advantage of this when you heard me say it before, or if you didn't hear me say it before, it's not too late. You can come out of the other side of this with a list of 500 to 1,500 or more. I'm going to say 500 to 1,500 is probably the average. Engaged prospects who you have established a significant bond with, and with whom you have agreed upon clear next steps. That is the opportunity. So before we get into the 3 steps to take today, it's real quick. Let me explain what I mean by this bond. What I mean is not someone who knows who you are, not branding, but bonding. That means you have a shared value, a significance to your relationship. Something meaningful has transpired and occurred. You've been a help. You've connected. You've agreed on core values. It's something important, okay? So here's your 3 steps, real quick, that you need to take today. That means if it's 9 o'clock at night and you're watching this, then you take it 9 o'clock tonight. In some small way, you take these steps. Number 1, you look up and you look ahead. We've got to snap ourselves out of what could be. We got to snap ourselves out of what's been. One thing is for certain. All of the wild predictions everyone has made has been wrong. Nobody gets this stuff right. We're all over the map. We need to look up and look ahead. We need to get our feet out of yesterday. We've got to get our head out of tomorrow. When I say look ahead, I don't mean start thinking of everything that could happen. That's not what I mean. I mean start walking forward. Start walking into the better future. Stop waiting for outside variables to be your predictor of success. Stop waiting for outside events to be your indicator that it's safe to come out now. We have got to start making moves now. Get our head out of the nonsense. Stop listening to stuff that doesn't affect us, stuff that just causes anxiety, and start moving. Here's what we know. There are certain principles that have always been true. Building relationships with customers has always been good. Strategic planning has always been good. Making calls, taking action has always been good. We can do that today. I'm telling you, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I'm hoping it's going to shake some of you into reality. Some of you are spending more time reading the news today than you are engaging with potential customers. You'll spend 3 to 4 hours digesting content a day of just news content that's just talking about potential, a million variables and a million potential futures, instead of creating your own. Step 2, we've got to take hold of the wheel. So we look up and we look ahead. We're going to plan our roadmap. We're going to grab hold of that wheel. Listen, why do I say that? Because you can, when you're holding the wheel, you can steer. We've got to stop letting the news at media, we've got to stop letting everything else grab the wheel for us. We've got to grab the wheel. We've got to steer this thing. We've got to go left and right based on where our prospects are going. And then last, we need to put our foot on the gas. That means get moving and stop hibernating. So let's make this better together. Pressing on is being positive. It's not just having a delusional positive outlook. We actually need to press on. We got to wake up in the morning, get up early, grab our superhero cape, tie our shoes on, put our thinking cap on. It's time to get back to critical thinking. Let's get planning and let's get working. I know what some of you are thinking. I've been doing that, Tom. I don't know what you're talking about. I've not sat around. There's nothing's going for me. I'm doing everything I can. I'm calling everyone I can. All right. Well, let's explain a principle here. Maybe you're that category of people who's hustling, but you're hustling and not getting any results because you're hustling in the wrong direction. I've got to bring you back to this principle of bond versus buy. Okay, it's very, very important, because there's never been a more opportune time to reach out to people. When you reach out to people, if you're trying to sell them something and they're not in a position to buy right now, if you call 100 people and 99 of them say, I would love to buy from you right now, but I can't, you have a closed buying window. You can't do anything about that unless you're the reason it's closed. If it's closed because they just don't have the money, if they're closed because fear is overwhelming them, whatever it is, if you can't get that buying window open and you're making 99 calls, and again, they're all saying they're interested, but they cannot buy from you, the buying window's closed, don't worry. The bond window is extremely open. We all have something to talk about and to bond over right now. Again, they may be less likely in the buying window, but they are in the bonding window to create that significant relationship between us. Why does that matter? It matters if you think like a marketer and stop thinking like a small business owner, entrepreneur, salesperson. Take off your sales hat. If the buying window is not open, stop selling. Start marketing. And this is how marketing works, okay? In marketing, we try to create engagement. We try to create bond with people. We try to have a significant episode. Let me give you just a quick example before I go into these real tactical ways to do this. Imagine you live in a neighborhood and you got 10 houses on your street, all right? And you mind your own business. You don't go anywhere. You don't do anything, okay? One day, your neighbor's freaking out because someone stole his bike out of the front of his house. So he starts going around asking anyone if they saw anything. Well, you didn't see anything, so you tell him no. You weren't the one to help. So he goes around till he gets someone that can actually help him. Let's say he comes around the next week and he starts asking if anyone saw a vehicle, a suspicious vehicle that was driving up and down the street. He describes it. You didn't see it. The next week he comes around and asks, does anyone have a camera system on their house where you could help me with this? And you go, well, I don't have one. What's happening here? This neighbor is giving you indications of what? Security concerns. Security concerns. And even though in those moments you can't provide him a camera system, a description, or any help at all, you just don't even have the ability to help even if you wanted to, each of those was an opportunity, even though they didn't have anything to do with how you could help. Hear me on this. Even though it had nothing to do with how you might specifically help, each of those were an opportunity to bond with your neighbor. And what we have in COVID-19, whether or not you can specifically help them even through your business or anything at all, we have an opportunity to bond over where they're at. Why does that matter? Again, you live on a street, 10 houses, you don't really know many of the neighbors well. All of a sudden, you bond with this neighbor over something so important to them at such a critical time, a security, a life issue. You see the relationship here to coronavirus? You create that bond in that environment, and even though you couldn't maybe specifically help them, you had that neighborly chat, you really created some bond. Trust has formed. You're now in the good neighbor category. And when that thing comes along, you're going to be able to help them with. Let's say you're driving down the road, you look over and you see they're having a hard time, they're changing a tire. You just happen to be able to help them with that. You jump out of your car, hey, can I help you with that? They're going to say, yeah, come on. Why? I trusted you. I trusted you before we bonded. If they didn't know who you were, what are they going to say? No, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I'll wait till someone I have more bond with comes along. You see, this is maybe even a poor illustration, but nonetheless, there's 1,000 illustrations you can think of for this that demonstrate why bond is so valuable when it comes to preparing for the buying window. And guys, marketers know this. This is what good marketers do. But entrepreneurs, we're salespeople by nature, and we try selling instead of bonding. We don't even know how to bond. We just end up branding instead of actually truly engaging with people and building this trusting, significant relationship. So how do we actually do it? We leverage social media. Notice the word engagement, not just content. I'm watching people just putting out content like crazy, just throwing up content, regurgitating articles and pictures and videos that aren't even theirs. I mean, just share, 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 share. That's not engagement, guys. We have got to get people in a conversation with us. We got to be tagging people in posts. We got to be looking for people. We've got to be specifically niching what we're going to help people to, and then giving that information to those people we can actually help. So sure, that involves posting videos, asking questions, being relevant. But the goal is to try to draw people into an actual conversation, true engagement over content just spewing that's out there today. One of the best ways to do that is in online group discussions, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever you're using. You got to get into those groups where the discussions are happening and start getting your content there and having that engagement. And never pitch or promote unless it makes sense, meaning the buying window is clearly open. Webinars with relevant and informative, specific to specific needs that give very specific help is great. Real help where possible is the best type of engagement. And guys, I hate to have to say this with such frustration, but we've got to make phone calls. We get on the social media and we love it because we're in our pajamas, we're just sitting there, we feel like we're working, we're feeling busy. But I don't know, a lot of you are probably like, I'm just feeling like nothing's going anywhere. You know why? You don't get a sense, you don't get a feedback loop of that bond. The engagement on social media is great, but 1 5-minute phone call with a potential prospect is 100 times better for creating that bond. Pick up the phone and call every single human being you know to create this bond right now. When I say that, I'm not talking about your grandparents and your friends. I'm talking about business people that you can help or have strategic partnerships with in the future. And here's the thing, you got to be persistent. You can't just call them one and done. You've got to take a list of, say, 200, 300 people and keep calling those same 200 or 300 people every single week until the bond is formed, till they become a part of your life. And what are you going to tell them on those calls? You're going to help them. You're going to create engagement. You're going to ask them how they're doing. You're going to be interested in them and offer help where possible without selling anything. Guys, that's what works. And listen, quick testimonial. I've got a number of clients who went into hibernation, and I've got a number of clients who dove right in with this and have been building this bond. And let me tell you something. Sometimes I hope I'm right. Sometimes I think I'm right, and I tend to be kind of right. And sometimes I surprise myself. When it comes to this one, I've surprised myself. My clients who have been building this bond are absolutely crushing it right now. You know why? There's no traffic on the road. There's no traffic. Everybody got off the road. So the ones that are making these calls They used to have maybe 50 calls to have 20 conversations, 10 conversations. Now they're having 50 dials and they're having 20, 30, 40 conversations, meaningful conversations, being persistent, being told things like, you're the only one who keeps calling me, I'm ready to move forward. It's amazing. It's amazing, guys. Hear me on this. I know less than 10% of you are going to do it, but for that less than 10%, I'm with you guys. Push the gas now. No traffic on the road. Focus on bond instead of buy, and it will be well worth it. If I can be of more help to you, here's some other ways that you can bond with me. Until next time, guys, keep up the good work. Keep hustling. It's going to pay in big ways. The harvest is coming.